I found myself cursed with my bisexual child. Before you judge me based on the title, please hear me out. My name is Emma, 42F, and I would like to share a journey of growth and understanding with you. I am a mother to a wonderful 17-year-old boy named Carter, whom I adore with all my heart. Together with my husband David, we have built a very happy family together. Now, to get back to the title of this story, I have mentioned us being in a good place today, but this has not always been the case. Growing up, my family and I were raised in a very conservative church, a radical variant of Christianity. The atmosphere in this church was harsh towards those who deviated from the perceived standard of living, often subjecting them to verbal and, at times, physical mistreatment in our small community. My parents aligned closely with the church's perspectives, and regrettably, I was also very much participating with their behavior due to my upbringing. My older sister, Rose, took a different path. She spoke out against our parents and the church and was kicked out of our community as a consequence. Our parents responded with harsh treatment towards her, and at school, Rose became a target for bullying, even from me. Eventually, when it was revealed that she was a lesbian, our parents disowned her, kicking her out of the house. Luckily, Rose was able to find support by staying with a friend, another individual deemed an outsider by the church due to her being a single mother. At school, I continued in bullying Rose, but despite being younger, she never retaliated. I often found myself annoyed that she simply brushed off my attempts to provoke her, as I, a classic bully, craved for a reaction. Frustrated by her lack of response, I tried to targeting her very close friend, who later revealed herself to be her girlfriend. Caught in the act of verbally assaulting her, my sister stepped in to intervene. The words she spoke in that moment, however, I will never forget. "Mom and Dad got me because they have acted just like you are doing now. God will punish you for behaving like this. He'll give you a cursed or broken child so you can atone for your sins. You wait and see." After she said that, she walked away, taking her partner with her. The impact of those words lingered, leaving me stunned. When I shared what happened with my parents at home, they dismissed it, praying away the negative aura my sister's supposed sinful aura had given me. Following that encounter, I stopped targeting Rose. Her girlfriend and her eventually moved away, and based on what I observe on social media, they are living a fulfilling and happy life. When college came around, I had to leave town, where I ended up meeting my now husband. He has had a very different upbringing, being a much more moderate Christian, but I adored him, and he treated me with kindness and respect. When I finished college, we decided to get married, which my parents did not approve of, as he was not part of our community. During our wedding, my parents took the opportunity to go on a rant about how God will cleanse everything our church preached, and it was at that moment that one of my husband's cousins, Willow, opened my eyes. She pointed out the contradictions in their preaching, reciting actual verses from the Bible. Her efforts to highlight the inconsistencies in my distorted version of faith began to open my eyes as I finally started to realize how wrong some of our beliefs were. My parents began screaming that she must be a devil, but she said that the only devils in here were my parents and their beliefs. My parents left shortly after. I apologized to Willow and all our guests for my parents' behavior, but she assured me that it was all okay. A few months later, I discovered I was pregnant with a son, and the joy of impending motherhood overwhelmed me. My parents were excited, celebrating that one of us turned out right and fulfilled her duty as a woman. However, during my pregnancy, I became increasingly aware of how toxic my parents' views were. Realizing that I didn't want my son to grow up in such an environment, I made the decision to distance myself from my parents. In an attempt to make amends, I reached out to Rose. Unfortunately, she expressed that as long as I remained in contact with our parents, she couldn't be a part of my life. With the words of Rose in the back of my head, I presented my parents with an ultimatum. Either they sever ties with the toxic church, or I would leave them. Of course, they did not agree to this, and in the end, I had to make the difficult decision to cut them off from my life. When my son, Carter, was born, he entered a world filled with love and support. After cutting ties with my parents, I contacted Rose again, and we slowly picked up our bond again. She has now become a wonderful sister, and Rose's girlfriend, Julia, turned out to be the best baker I've ever known. David's family loves Carter, Rose, and me, creating a supportive and loving environment. In this new chapter of my life, it became clear that I didn't need my parents and their approval to build a happy and fulfilling life. Now you might be wondering why the title of my story. Well, we come to that now. Yesterday, Rose informed me that she was in town and planning to stop by. I welcomed the idea and quickly cleaned the house in anticipation of her visit. When Rose finally arrived, I noticed that Julia had accompanied her, carrying a delicious cake. I cleared a spot in the fridge to accommodate for it. We all gathered in the living room, engaging in lively conversation, until Carter returned home with his best friend, Angelo. My sister gave me a mysterious look, and for a moment I was confused. Julia went to get the cake, and to my surprise, the cake read, "Surprise, Angelo is my boyfriend." Rose immediately looked at me and said, "Well, didn't I tell you this would happen?" We both laughed about it and shared what had happened in the past with our son. I'm proud to say that I feel super happy for him. I'm glad I have been able to withstand my parents' views and have been able to open up myself to be a better human. On that final note, I would like to thank you all for allowing me to share my story. Take care.